So it's raining outside today, and again, it just won't stop raining. So I thought I'd spend a minute kind of clean this up a little bit, get it ready for next winter. And I thought I'd just kind of go through some of the things that I do to clean this up. First thing I do is, well, this is kind of non-stop part of what I do, but I kind of clean the glass up. And the glass, even though it doesn't look stained, there's going to be some residual smoke particles on it. What happens is when you burn the smoke, the smoke is just wood particles. If you burn wet firewood, it becomes like a tar-like substance. But when you burn it dry, it's kind of a dust. And you might be able to see it on my finger, just kind of wipes off. So since we're cleaning up for the end of the season, I'm going to take a little bit of ash. Now, ash is kind of like the abrasive. But the thing you got to be careful with this glass is it's actually ceramic. It's not glass. You want a soft abrasive. And apparently the ash is just perfect. And just wipes right up. I use a wet wipe. I know you probably could use a sock or a washcloth, but I don't know, wet wipes just seem to work for me. The other thing that's nice about wet wipes is if the glass is hot, for some reason the wet wipes don't melt. So you can see there's a little bit of crud on it, not too bad. I've been running the buddy heater this spring. Buddy heater's right here. I've been running it, and I brought a tank in, and I haven't even hardly touched the tank. We may have ran it half a dozen times since the wet weather has arrived. And maybe an hour in the morning, a couple times I ran it in the evening. The thing about the buddy heater is there's no thermostat on it. It would be just real easy to leave it on, but since there's no thermostat, you got to get up, shut it off. So what I do is I let the place get up to about, I don't know, 78 degrees or so. You know, of course it's 65 when I turn it on. I let it get up to about 78 degrees, and then I shut the buddy heater off, and then all day long the house should be in pretty good shape the rest of the day. It's when we get down to the low 50s, we kind of cool off in here. I don't see any point in not being comfortable. What about SHTF? You're not going to have propane for SHTF. Because apparently, if you live off grid, that's the only thing you're worried about is the end of the world. Well, if the end of the world happens, then I would just run the wood stove until I didn't need it anymore, until I was warm. There'd be a lot more cleaning involved. We'd have to clean the chimney more. But we'd just go out and get some sticks. And if it gets too hot in the house, then all I got to do is just open the windows. Now, I don't like doing that because it seems like a waste of firewood. Firewood costs money. So you don't open the windows when you're running a gas furnace or electric furnace. Why do you do it when you're on a wood stove? It doesn't make sense to me. Go ahead and get the outside. The only reason I'm getting the outside is, I don't know, it just seems like it accumulates water, and I don't know where it comes from, but little drips of water. So what I'm using here is a sock to kind of wipe up the residue from the wet wipes. I think the streaking is on the outside. That's good. Means I got the inside good. I know this seems like boring work, but I really think this is important to kind of keep it clean and pretty. It's a nice looking thing inside the house, whether it's being used or not. It's just a neat piece of equipment, furniture, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty. I like to keep it looking good. Last year I put firewood in it. I might do that again this year, just so it would sit over the summer. And that way when I was ready to start it up, it was ready to go. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and get some of the ashes out of it. Now, this particular wood stove has a ash box you put your ashes in. I don't like the way this is designed at all as far as the ash box is concerned. The idea behind it is good, but there's just no way to use it. And I'll show you here in a minute what I'm talking about. So, what you're supposed to do is you close the ash box, and then there's this plug right here in the bottom. And you're supposed to pick the plug up. Right there's the plug. But that's metal. So imagine the wood stove's hot. And you want to put more wood in, but you got to get some ashes out of it. You're going to absolutely burn yourself. There's just no way to get it out with a glove on, and you might catch the glove on fire. So, and then you're supposed to rake the ashes into here. And what you're supposed to be doing when you're doing this is saving the coals that didn't burn, because the hole is, you know, there's just a hole in the bottom there, and so you rake that in, and whatever remains is coals that are large enough that didn't fall in there. So I just take a shovel, I open it up the drawer, and I shovel it in there. Now I've considered using a vacuum, but the only time I ever clean this thing is when it's cloudy, because there's nothing to do outside and I don't have enough electric to run the vacuum cleaner because of the solar panels. Yeah, the only time this hole is useful is when you're cleaning it up for the end of the season. Alright, next thing I do is, there's these tubes. These are the afterburner tubes, the reburner tubes, the air tubes, whatever you want to call them. And what they do is when these get hot, they burn the smoke. So the smoke comes up, hits these reburners, and then the flame turns a real pretty blue because it's burning the smoke. Well, I try to keep these clean, and it really isn't hard to do. It's just a little cotter pin that comes out. Now, I don't know about your brand, but that's what this one is. It slides over, and it comes off like that. Get an old yucky rag. Now, you want to make sure that the tubes, the air tubes, the holes in the air tube, I should say, are clear, because air actually comes into this. This is where the bulk of the air comes in. It doesn't come in through the vent like everybody would think, like the olden days. They come through this. I used to take a brush and scrub this real hard, but I got to thinking, the more I scrub it, the more I'm wearing away metal material, and I don't want to wear it out. Let me take a wet wipe maybe and that glass, you want to be careful with that glass. No matter what you do, it's $300 to replace it. And I've already replaced 2. I don't want to replace any more. I got a spare up in the attic, but... And then we can just... slide it back in. Cotter pin back in, but I can't see it. It's pretty dark. I might need to get a flashlight. I got it. And then there's 2 more to do. So you can see when you pull it out that the holes are tempted to get clogged. Now the first one had holes on both sides of it, but the next 2 only have holes on one side. I don't know exactly why. And now some of them, they only have 2 air tubes, and I don't know why they have different amounts. Maybe it's just a smaller wood stove, I'm not sure. And then of course you had catalytic converter type wood stoves, and those are expensive, and you're not even supposed to clean those because the precious metals they use in it will get damaged if you try to clean them. And then you got to replace it, and they're apparently pretty expensive to replace. I'm getting pretty good at it. I used to not be able to do it by feel. I used to have to get a flashlight and stick my head up in there. And inevitably get ashes all over my head. And then there's one more. Same thing. Lots of crud right there at the air tube holes. Okay, got it. Now, one final thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to check the seals to make sure that everything's sealed up still good and tight. And the way you do that is you get a piece of currency, a dollar bill, and you stick it up against the wall here. And I'm going to do it right here because for some reason it is discoloring right here. And I don't know why. I know it's not unsealed. The reason I know is because it must be when I open the door, smoke comes up and hits that or something. And the reason I know it's sealed, even though I haven't tested it yet, is I have a seal on the door itself. That's the original seal. But then I put this extra seal here. That way I would never lose a seal. And so what you do is you close this on the dollar bill. And you shouldn't be able to pull it out. I can't pull it out, so I know it's sealing just fine. But you check it, you go around. It's a bit harder down here at the bottom. And everything's sealed up nice and tight. Now I'm going to put that plug back in here. Now that has a seal on it too. I didn't show you that. So there's a fiberglass rope on it also. But what has happened, and this is another thing I don't like about it, is the ash has gathered up around the hole here. And now I can't get the plug back in, so I got to sit here and clean this out. And trying to do that when it was hot, I would imagine would be terrible. And so that has to seal up. And then there's a seal on this as well, right here. And then I'll empty that box down here. I'll take it out and empty it. And that's all there is to clean it up. Now, of course, one of the things you should do is once a year you need to clean the chimney. And there's a brush that you buy, 6-inch brush, and you run that down there. Now, running dry firewood, I've never noticed since we have ran dry firewood that it needed cleaned. That first year we had to clean it midwinter because we were running wet firewood. But we haven't had a problem since. I'm going to wait until it stops raining. It's just too dangerous for me to be up on that roof right now, and I'll clean it sometime this summer. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video that I made yesterday. So I hope I can inspire you to enjoy your dreams. Thanks for watching.